the channel was successfully in exposing all government corruption files to the public. The second part of my speech, security. As for the security, it has been increasingly deteriorating during the last 2 years in the country, especially in the capital. Baghdad, United Nations reports said more than 5,000 died and tens of thousands injured in violent attack this year. And when we want to investigate the responsibility for such horrible security collapse, the Prime Minister says that he cannot be held accountable. Although he is, in addition to his position as a Prime Minister, he is acting as a Commander-in-Chief, acting Minister of Defense, acting Minister of Interior, acting Minister of Security, National Security, acting the head of intelligence, all in one packet. And he is exclusively running the security file, not allowing, because there is no power sharing, not allowing anybody to take part or to share or to give an advice or criticize the management and the administration of the security file. Security situation is declining, although security forces are constantly growing and reached more than 1.5 million individuals. Moreover, the annual security budget takes more than 25% of the annual budget, which is usually higher than 100 billion US dollar. 5 days ago, in a TV interview, the Prime Minister announced that his 20-year-old son took armed forces and raided the residence of a businessman in the green zone because he embezzles 100 million US dollar and has hundreds of silencers guns in his house and illegally occupies tens of properties in the capital. Till now, we don't know. We do not know what official title his son has in the country to have such kind of power. I should admit that the government security forces were successful, but in one mission. In attacking Camp Ashraf, in curbing the peaceful protesters against the government. The well-known and latest example is in Hawija city in Kirkuk on April the 23rd of 2013, killing and injuring hundreds of demonstrators. The third part of my speech, governance and corruption. As for governance and corruption, I need long hours to cover part of this file. Local and foreign investors and businessmen usually say that the main obstacle to come to Iraq is the poor government effectiveness, married by corruption and political interference. They consider poor governance more dangerous than security. Since April 2003, Iraq spent more than 630 billion US dollar, in addition to more than 30 billion dollars from donors countries, while 30% of the population still live under poverty line. Millions still spend their nights in full darkness because of power cut. Thousands of pupils study on the floor in mud-made schools. Millions have no access to drinkable water in most provinces. Iraq now ranks number 175 of the most corrupted countries in the 182 countries surveyed. As indicated by Transparency International, for fifth year, Baghdad is considered the dangerous and the worst place in the world to live in. UNDP recent report says that an average Iraqi must pay at least 4 bribes per year. You must have heard of the corruption scandals by senior aides to the Prime Minister. The former Minister of Trade, Mr. Falah al-Sudani, who is a senior member of the Prime Minister political party, was officially accused and convicted of corruption. He is now free and living peacefully in London. The Minister of the Interior refused to ask the Interpol to arrest him. The corruption of this government caused also the death of thousands of Iraqis, as in the big scandal of purchasing technically proved ineffective bomb detection devices from a company in UK. Iraq bought a device with 40,000, please see the figure. Iraqi government paid per each device $40,000, whereby the cost of that device is not exceeding $20, and being sold to third countries by $70. Al-Maliki government paid $40,000. The manufacturer in the prison in UK, given 10 years in a prison, 10 years, whereby the corrupted people in my country free. And the problem, this disastrous device is still used in the checkpoints, allowing the car bombs to go through without any problem, killing my innocent people. Just imagine the tragedy, please. Just imagine the tragedy. As for the country's sovereignty, needless to say, Iraq has completely fallen under the grip of Iran. A clear-cut example of this in the way the Iraqi government deals with the unarmed, legally behaved Iranian exile dissidents, Mujahidi Khalq. who are supposed to be protected by the international law. They were under several attacks by the Iraqi security forces, killing hundreds and injured likewise figure, and this happened in violation of international law. My country, Iraq, has no interest to attack Camp Ashraf, has no interest to kill innocent people. What happened is just to serve and to entertain an Iranian agenda. That's it. The reputation of my country being damaged I really feel sympathetic to the tragedy of those people and to the organization. But also, I feel very concerned about the reputation of my country. Those people are a guest in my country, being covered by international law. They should be protected, not being killed by Noor al-Maliki. Another example of Iranian influence and control of Iraq is the letter's decision to open its skies, civil aviation, to supply weaponry, ammunition, hostile equipment to the Syrian dictatorship regime, to further oppress its people. Iraq has become an air corridor and the main route for the Iranian military aid to Assad's government. It is necessary to mention here that the Iraqi government obey Iran, not because of Iran's political or military power. It's simply because of the religious ties and obligations. Officials of this government, headed by the Prime Minister, believe that it is their religious duty to follow the instructions of the Iranian Grand Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Ladies and gentlemen, violence and terrorism in my country are by and large Iraqi-made and not imported from outside the country. They are the result of injustice, sectarian discrimination, arrogant and failing policies of the current Prime Minister. He's lying when he alleged that the uprising against the dictatorship in Syria fuels violence in Iraq. His view is purely sectarian and politically motivated. All army leaders say that they have full control of the Iraqi-Syrian border. Today, I am here to invoke you in the names of principles and values you believe in. The principles of human rights, women's rights, democracy, good governance, transparency, rights of minorities, categorically asking you to protect these principles and values in my country. The best solution to end this crisis is by doing the following. One, the resignation of al-Maliki government. Second, forming a caretaker technocrat government. Three, holding a national conference, but under the umbrella of the international community, where all the Iraqi key political players meet to review at least the last 10 years political process, identifying challenges and loopholes, and then agree on the joint roadmap for the reform and change in the country. I want also to ask those countries, especially the United States, which still blindly support the current Prime Minister, who keeps deceiving the international community by giving false reports about the situation in my country and never fulfill his promises. I ask them to reconsider their stance and help build a real and well-established democracy in Iraq.